are the odds? It's a question we ask about lottery tickets, about chance encounters. But what if the odds in question are the odds of hell itself repeating, of being chosen at random by the end of the world? Twice, in the summer of 1945, the world was holding its breath. A war that had consumed the planet was reaching its brutal endgame. The alternative to a final, bloody invasion of Japan was a new, terrifying weapon, born in secret. 2 atomic bombs, one called Little Boy, the other Fat Man. For the engineers of this apocalypse, they were simply targets on a map. But for a man named Tsutomu Yamaguchi, they would become the twin pillars of a life he never expected to live. He was a draftsman from Nagasaki, a quiet man with a sharp mind, designing oil tankers for Mitsubishi. He was in Hiroshima on a business trip. The morning of August 6th was warm, ordinary. He was on his way to the shipyard when he saw a single American bomber high above. Then, a small object falling. And then, a light. A flash of white so absolute, it felt like the sun had fallen to earth. Instinct took over. He dove into a ditch, covering his eyes. The shockwave that followed wasn't a sound. It was a physical force that lifted him off the ground, spinning him like a leaf in a tornado. When he came to, the world was dark at noon. He was temporarily blind. His eardrum ruptured, the left side of his body seared with burns. The city he had walked through that morning was gone. The woman walking beside him moments before was gone. Somehow, he found 2 colleagues. Somehow, they endured a night of screams in a makeshift shelter. And then, Tsutomu Yamaguchi began a journey home, a descent through a landscape of nightmares. He swam a river choked with the dead. He walked past sights so horrific they would fuel a lifetime of poetry. He was a ghost, returning to Nagasaki, bandaged and broken, to his wife and infant son. He reported for work on August 9th, desperate for normalcy. He was in a meeting, trying to convince his skeptical boss that a single bomb had erased Hiroshima. As his supervisor scoffed, the world outside the window dissolved once more into that same blinding, vengeful white. The second bomb, Fat Man. The shockwave blew the windows inward, tore the bandages from his body. In that impossible moment, his only thought was, the mushroom cloud. It has followed me. He had survived. Again, less than 2 miles from ground zero. Again. But survival is not the same as living. The acute radiation sickness was a fresh hell. Fever, vomiting, his hair falling out. His wife, Hisoko, exposed to the black rain in Nagasaki, would later die of cancer. His son would too. The unseen enemy, radiation, became a permanent tenant in their home, a ghost in their bloodline. For decades, Yamaguchi carried this double burden in silence. In post-war Japan, to be a Hibakusha explosion-affected person was a mark of stigma. People feared the radiation was contagious or hereditary. They were shunned, silenced. Yamaguchi wanted a normal life. He let the world record him only as a survivor of Nagasaki. But in his 80s, something changed. The quiet man found a roaring purpose. He came to believe he was not spared by luck, but by destiny. That his impossible survival was a message that needed a messenger. He petitioned the Japanese government and, in 2009, became the only person officially recognized as a nijū Hibakusha, a double survivor, not for extra benefits, but for the record. So that after he was gone, the history would remain. He wrote memoirs. He wrote poetry with titles like "And the river flowed as a raft of corpses" from his hospital bed. Dying of stomach cancer at 93, he gave interviews. He spoke at the United Nations, his voice thin but unwavering. His plea was simple. I experienced the bomb twice. I sincerely hope that there will not be a third. Tsutomu Yamaguchi died in 2010. He outlived his son, his wife, and the century he helped define. His story is more than a statistical miracle. It is a human bridge between two moments of ultimate destruction. He reframed his entire existence, not as a victim of circumstance, but as a witness for the future. He once said that the only people who should be allowed to govern countries with nuclear weapons are mothers, those who are still breastfeeding their babies. He was not a symbol of luck. He was a living, breathing argument against oblivion. A man who lived through the end of the world, twice, to remind us that there should never, ever be a third.